Thank you. The December 6th, 2021 meeting of the Seattle City Council will come to order. It is 2 p.m. I am Kshama Sawant, President Pro Tem of the Council. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Juarez.
Here.
Lewis.
Present.
Mosqueda.
Present.
Peterson.
Present.
Strauss.
Present.
Herbold.
Here.
Council President Pro Tem Sawant.
Present.
7 present.
Thank you. If there's no objection, Council Rule ID 2 related to the Council President Pro Tem designation will be suspended to allow Councilmember Herbold to act as Council President Pro Tem and preside over today's meeting. Hearing no objection, the rules are suspended and Councilmember Herbold will preside over today's meeting as Council President Pro Tem.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. Moving on to presentations on the agenda. I am not aware of a presentation for today. Moving on to approval of the minutes. The minutes of the Seattle City Council meeting of November 15th, 22nd, and November 29th have been reviewed. If there is no objection, the minutes of November 15th, 22nd, and 29th will be signed. Hearing no objection, the minutes are being signed. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the minutes? Thank you. Moving on to approval of the introduction and referral calendar. If there is no objection, the introduction and referral calendar will be adopted. Hearing and seeing no objection, the introduction and referral calendar is adopted. Moving on to approval of the agenda. If there is no objection, the agenda will be adopted. Hearing no objection, the agenda is adopted. So now we'll be moving into the remote public comment period for the items on the City Council agenda, the introduction and referral calendar, and Council's work program. I thank everyone for their ongoing patience and cooperation as we continue to operate this remote public comment system. It remains the strong intent of the City Council to have remote public comment regularly included on meeting agendas. As a reminder, the Council reserves the right to end or eliminate public comment periods if we deem that the system is being abused or is no longer suitable for allowing our meetings to be conducted efficiently and effectively. I will moderate the public comment period in the following manner. The public comment period for this meeting is 20 minutes, and each speaker will be given 2 minutes to speak. Speakers are called upon in the order in which they registered to provide public comment on the Council's website. Each speaker should call in from the phone number used for this registration and using the meeting phone number, ID, and passcode that was emailed to them upon confirmation. This is different than the general meeting listen line call-in information. Again, I'll call each speaker by name and in the order in which they registered on the Council's website. If you've not yet registered to speak but would like to do so, and you can sign up before the end of a comment by going to the Council's website at seattle.gov/council. The public comment link is also on today's agenda. Once I call a speaker's name, staff will unmute the appropriate microphone, and an automatic prompt of "you have been unmuted" will be the speaker's cue, and it's their turn to speak. And then the speaker must press *6 to begin speaking. Please begin by stating your name and the item that you are addressing. As a reminder, public comment should relate to an item on today's agenda, the introduction and referral calendar, or the Council's work program. Speakers will hear a chime when 10 seconds are left of the allotted time. Once you hear that time, we ask that you begin to wrap up your public comment. If speakers do not end their comments at the end of the allotted time provided, the speaker's microphone will be muted to allow us to call on the next speaker. And once you've completed your public comment, we ask that you please disconnect from the line. And if you plan to continue following the meeting, we encourage that you do so via the Seattle channel or the listening options listed on the agenda. One special note for today, if you are wanting to speak Council Bill 1202 0213, which is legislation, Council Bill extending the moratorium regarding mobile home parks. Please note there is a separate public hearing for this item. Will follow after the conclusion of public comment. So please make comments on this bill during the public hearing for this item so that they're part of the record for this particular bill. So again, people who are trying to give public comment on Council Bill 120213, do not do so in this next public comment period. Do so at the public hearing following item on the agenda that corresponds to that item. With that, the public comment period is now open, and we'll begin the first speaker on the list. And again, remember to *6 after you hear the prompt of you have been unmuted. We'll start with Howard Gale, followed by Yvette Knish. Howard?
Good afternoon. Howard Gale, District 7, speaking on our failed police accountability system. An audit of the SPD disciplinary system was released last week by the Seattle Office of Inspector General, the OIG. This is the same office that is embroiled in controversy and failures of oversight, as revealed by 2 OIG whistleblowers and documented in 16 investigations published by Carolyn Bick in the South Seattle Emerald over the course of this year, and an investigation by KOW last month. What is revealed in these investigations is a failure of oversight by OIG for a reason, that the investigations they oversee, investigations done by the OPA, are severely and sometimes irreparably flawed. The OPA director has judged nearly 90% of last year's police abuse cases against demonstrators to be without merit, and has found every single SPD killing that they investigated to be, quote, lawful and proper. We have learned that the director of the Office of Inspector General has allowed the routine certification of these flawed OPA investigations by a person who formerly had a 23-year career as a police officer without even looking at evidence and sometimes without even reviewing the investigations. We recently have discovered that this individual is still working at the OIG and still certifying OPA investigations. We have learned that the director of the OIG has encouraged its investigators to ignore OPA investigatory failures and has worked diligently to undercut the Public Records Act by mandating that employees not put complaints or concerns in writing. Despite this, we are trusting the OIG to evaluate the SPD disciplinary system, a system which is severely compromised given that the very investigations which would provide the basis for discipline are so flawed. All this evidence points to the critical need for a system that provides full civilian community control over police policy, misconduct investigations, and discipline, as so many cities have done post-George Floyd. Go to seattlestop.org to find out how. That's seattlestop.org. Thank you.
So our next speaker is Yvette Knish. She is showing as not present. And so with that, we'll come back to Yvette at the end. So let's move on to David Haynes is the next person signed in and showing present.
Thank you. Good morning, David Haynes. It's highly offensive that 6 cops and a bunch of others quit on the people of Seattle, endangering us with a lack of public safety efforts, only to see the same cops return to get another sign-on bonus, proving cops in modern time aren't fighting crime. They want to get rich at our expense. We don't need 27-year veterans who are already burned out and not actually fighting crime. Secondly, I live in Pioneer Square, and there are crackheads and crack pushers and meth heads who reclaim the front entrance to my apartment, Pioneer Square at 600 First Ave, and across the street at the most nuisance 7-Eleven. A few days ago, I was forced to call the cops because they wouldn't let anybody pass the drug pushers inside Pioneer Square. When the cop gets there, they don't address any crime. They make me come out and identify myself as the one who called the cops. And during that time, there's all these criminals pointing at me. When the cop addressed me, they told me, "We got our body camera on, you're being recorded." The first thing they do is cross their arms, look at me disdainfully and say, "You have called us over 12 times for the exact same thing." And I say, "That's because you haven't done anything and it's gotten worse." And so the cop tells me, "Maybe you should just move." And I wish I could. And I think maybe I need to sue the cops because they're not doing their job down here. And there's some businesses down in Pioneer Square are lying to the press and the media, claiming that it's safer because they don't see the tents, but yet they just care about the front entrance to their building. They don't care about the community at large. They don't ever address the evil drug pushers. They just complain about it to somebody else. And so now, every night between 3 and 4 a.m., all these people are waking me up and they're trying to break into my building, and it's impossible to live in Seattle. We need to boycott this city until you all stop exempting the criminals.
Thank you, David. Both of our last two speakers are showing as not present, Yvette Nish and George Lane. Just pause for a second to make sure neither Yvette nor George are going to come on to utilize public comment, and not seeing any change in status. With that, we will conclude the portion of our agenda devoted to public comment. Moving on to our payment of bills. Please read the title for the payment of bills.
Payment of bills, Council Bill 120240, an ordinance appropriating money to pay certain audited claims for the week of November 22nd, 2021 through November 26, 2021, and ordering the payment thereof.
Thank you. I move to pass Council Bill 120240. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that the bill pass. Are there any comments? Seeing no comments, can we please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Yes.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to legislation on my behalf? Moving on to committee reports. Item 1, will the clerk please read item 1 into the record?
Agenda Item 1, Council Bill 120213, an ordinance relating to land use and zoning, extending for 6 months a moratorium established by Ordinance 125764 and extended by Ordinances 126006, 126090, 126241, and 126362 on the filing, acceptance, processing, and or approval of any application to establish a new principal or accessory use or change a principal or accessory use for any site currently used as a mobile home park, as defined in Section 23.84A.032 of the Seattle Municipal Code.
Thank you very much. Before I open the public hearing on this item, I am going to turn it over to Councilmember Strauss as the sponsor of the bill to provide us with some introductory remarks. Councilmember Strauss.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem Herbold. This legislation extends the existing moratorium on the redevelopment of any of Seattle's remaining mobile home, or better known as manufactured home parks. There are currently 2 remaining manufactured home parks in Seattle, both in District 5, the mighty D5. This moratorium was first adopted by the City Council in early 2019 in response to a concern that one of the manufactured home parks may be redeveloped. The moratorium has been extended 4 times since then, with this being the 5th and final extension. Earlier this year, when we adopted the 4th moratorium extension, Councilmember Juarez and I shared that we had a proposal to enact long-term protections so that we could stop doing these short-term moratoriums. Unfortunately, over the summer, that proposal was challenged to the hearing examiner, delaying its consideration. The Land Use and Neighborhoods Committee held an initial briefing on the long-term proposal this last Friday and plans to hold a public hearing and vote on this Wednesday before sending the legislation, this final permanent legislation, to full council next week. One of the aspects of this delay was that rather than going to court, we were able, Councilmember Juarez led the effort, we were able to avoid court by just compromise and consensus. It was great. That said, because the delay occurred to the final legislation, the current moratorium is expiring January 10th, and there will be about a 1-week gap between the current moratorium expiring and the long-term protections taking effect. So this last moratorium extension before us today would sunset when the long-term protections take effect. I ask that we extend this moratorium one final time to prevent any loopholes before our long-awaited long-term protections can be adopted by the City Council next week. Thank you, Council President Pro Tem.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the context there. As presiding officer, I'm now opening the public hearing on Council Bill 120213, extending the moratorium established by Ordinance 1257-64 on the filing, acceptance, processing, and or approval of any application to establish a new principal or accessory use or change a principal or accessory use for any site currently used as a mobile home park as defined in Section 2384A.032 of the Seattle Municipal Code and ratifying and confirming certain prior acts. The online registration to speak at this hearing opened at 12 noon today. I will call on, I believe there's only one speaker, and I will call on that speaker, and online registration will remain open until the conclusion of the public hearing. The rules applied to the public comment period also apply to the public hearing. As I described earlier, each speaker will be provided 2 minutes with a 10-second warning to wrap up comments, and speakers' mics will be muted at the end of the allotted public comment time. Public comment related to Council Bill 120213 is only being accepted at this public hearing, and speakers are asked to begin their comments by stating their name. I have one person signed up for public comment on the public hearing on Council Bill 1202. 120213, and that is David Haynes. David. And there it is. David, star 6. I am still seeing you as muted, Mr. Haynes, if you can hear. Please press star 6. And I am not seeing Mr. Haynes with us anymore. So I believe, checking one more time, nobody new signed up. Refreshing my browser here. And David Haynes is showing now as not present. So with that, let's close the public hearing. I don't have anybody remotely present to speak on Council Bill 120213. Staff, could you please confirm my understanding there's not a member of the public in the queue before closing the hearing?
That is correct.
Thank you very much. Being that there is no one present for this public hearing is now closed. And we'll move into the voting and discussion of the bill. I will move to pass Council Bill 120213. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to pass the bill. Councilmember Strauss, as lead sponsor of the bill, you are recognized in order to address this item.
Thank you. And I think that I gave all of my explanations for the public hearing, just saying that, again, this legislation extends the existing moratorium on the redevelopment of any manufactured home parks in Seattle. Thank you to Councilmember Juarez for her leadership on this. We do have that final long-term legislation ready to come before full council, and we need this final extension to ensure that there's no loopholes. I urge a yay vote. Thank you, Council President Pro Tem.
Thank you, Councilmember Strauss. Are there any other comments from council members on the bill? All right, seeing no raised hands, will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis. Yes.
Mosqueda. Councilmember Mosqueda. Thank you.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you so much. The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Moving on, will the clerk please read item 2 into the record?
Agenda item 2, Council Bill 120236, an ordinance relating to city streets, changing the name of the portion of Thomas Street between 1st Avenue North and 2nd Avenue North to Lenny Wilkens Way, and superseding the relevant portions of Ordinance 4044, Ordinance 89910, Ordinance 102981, and any other ordinance to the extent inconsistent, and ratifying and confirming certain prior acts.
Thank you so much. I move to pass Council Bill 120236. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Councilmember Peterson, as sponsor of the bill, you are recognized in order to address this item.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem Herbold. Colleagues, as I mentioned during this morning's council briefing, this Council Bill 120236 follows up on Resolution 32019 that we recently adopted unanimously to change a portion of Thomas Street near Seattle Center to Lenny Wilkens Way. Lenny Wilkens is, of course, the legendary basketball star, coach, and philanthropist. And while the resolution added an honorary designation to the street, adopting this ordinance is stronger and more permanent because it legally changes the street name. As noted in the summary and fiscal note, our Seattle Department of Transportation will create and install the signs at a modest cost, which is already covered by their existing street sign budget. I join the Durkin administration in encouraging its passage today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Peterson. Are there any additional comments on the bill? All right. Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Yes.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you so much. The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Item number 3. Will the clerk please read item 3 into the record?
Agenda item 3, Council Bill 120231, an ordinance relating to city employment, authorizing the execution of an agreement between the City of Seattle and Seattle Fire Chiefs Association, International Association of Firefighters, Local 2898, and ratifying and confirming certain prior acts.
Thank you so much. I move to pass Council Bill 120231. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to pass the Council Bill. In the absence of the sponsor, Council President Gonzalez, Councilmember Mosqueda will address this item that has been referred directly to the full Council.
Thank you very much, Council President Pro Tem. Council Bill 120231 authorizes the execution of an agreement between the City of Seattle and the Seattle Fire Chiefs Association, International Association of Firefighters, IAFF, Local 2898. Specifically, the legislation would authorize additional pay for eligible front-time employees represented by Local 2898. Under the terms of this agreement, eligible employees would receive a lump payment, sum total of $100 a month prorated by the number of hours the employees worked at a city worksite, retroactive to March 2020. This benefit is consistent with the additional pay for many other city workers, including those in the Coalition of City Unions, per legislation that was adopted by the Council in October via Ordinance 120186. The Mayor's Office expects to transmit separate legislation that appropriates funding needed to make the payment contemplated in this legislation. Council President urges a yes vote.
All right. Thank you so much, Councilmember Mosqueda. Are there any additional comments on this legislation? All right. Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll on the passage of the bill.
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Yes.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Item 4. Will the clerk please read item 4 into the record?
Agenda item 4, Council Bill 120237, an ordinance relating to city employment, commonly referred to as the fourth quarter 2021 Employment Ordinance, designating positions as exempt from the civil service system and returning positions to the civil service system, all by a 2/3 vote of the City Council.
Thank you. I move to pass Council Bill 120237. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you so much. It has been moved and seconded to pass the Council Bill. Again, in the absence of the sponsor of the legislation, Council President Gonzalez, Councilmember Mosqueda will address this item that has been referred directly to the full Council.
Thank you very much, Council President Pro Tem. Council Bill 120237 is the fourth quarter 2021 Employment Ordinance. This is routine employment-related legislation to exempt positions from the civil service systems and/or to return positions to designation within the civil service system. The Seattle Department of Human Resources developed and transmitted this legislation, which would return 2 positions to civil service and exempt another 12 positions from civil service. There are no direct costs associated with these personnel actions today. Council President, I encourages a yes vote.
Thank you so much. Are there any other comments from council members on this legislation? Seeing no additional comments, will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you so much. The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Moving into the report of the Transportation and Utilities Committee, item 5. Will the clerk please read item 5 into the record?
The report of the Transportation and Utilities Committee, Agenda Item 5, Council Bill 120233, an ordinance relating to the City Light Department directing the transfer of certain funds in the Light Fund into the Rate Stabilization Account in 2021 and amending Section 21.49.086 of the Seattle Municipal Code to simplify the operation of the Rate Stabilization Account. The committee recommends the Council pass the bill.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Peterson, as chair of the Transportation and Utilities Committee, you are recognized in order to provide the committee report.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem. Colleagues, Council Bill 120233 is Seattle City Light's proactive policy to protect ratepayers from increased charges by adjusting its rate stabilization account. The rate stabilization account was created by the council so City Light would have a reserve to buffer ratepayers from the ups and downs of the wholesale power market. Revenue put into the RSA from sales on that market during high water flow periods is a major factor in the utility's ability to avoid raising rates during drier times of the year when the utility has to buy power to meet customer needs. However, the weather does not always cooperate. As the summary and fiscal note indicates, in early 2021, the outlook for the RSA was strong and no surcharge was expected to come back on within the next year. However, dry hydro conditions combined with exceptionally hot weather and high wholesale market prices quickly depleted the RSA balance during the third quarter. Council Bill 120233 does 2 things. It moves money from another account at City Light into the RSA to avoid adding a 3% surcharge to the customer's bills, and it simplifies the RSA structure to make surcharges a less frequent occurrence. These changes will not adversely impact Seattle City Light's bond rating or its debt coverage ratio. Well, the committee recommended passage unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Peterson. Are there any additional comments from council members on the passage of this bill? Okay, seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the passage of the bill?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. The bill passes and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Moving on to item 6 on the agenda, will the clerk please read item 6 into the record?
Agenda item 6, Resolution 32031, a resolution ratifying the 2021 update to the Green Duwamish and Central Puget Sound Watershed or Water Resource Inventory Area Salmon Habitat Plan, making our watershed fit for a king. The committee recommends a resolution be adopted.
Thank you so much. Again, this is an item coming out of the Transportation Utilities Committee, and Councilmember Peterson, as chair of that committee, you are recognized in order to provide the committee report.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem. Colleagues, Resolution 32031 ratifies the city's salmon habitat plan for the geographic area called Water Resource Inventory Area 9, and this includes the Duwamish River. And thank you, Councilmember Herbold, for your hard work on that important environmental plan, and I do support your amendment that you'll be offering today. This updates the 2005 plan and includes a list of over 100 capital projects developed in partnership with member jurisdictions, including the City of Seattle. And the plan is used to inform policy decisions such as an allocation of funds available for capital improvement projects that improve salmon habitat. Funding is available from a variety of sources. Seattle is ably represented by our technical experts from Seattle Public Utilities and by Councilmember Herbold. Our Transportation Utilities Committee unanimously recommended adoption of this resolution for the plan. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. As mentioned, I move to amend Resolution 32031 as presented on the amendment on the agenda.
Second.
Thank you so much. It has been moved and seconded to adopt the amendment as presented on the agenda. Just very quickly, the amendment, as mentioned this morning, it simply adds a recital regarding the recent decision to fund a new Duwamish Basin steward. The Habitat Plan mentions the stewardship position and the interest of WRIA 9 in funding it. We weren't able to amend the plan itself now that the commitment has made to defund the position because it's being adopted by 16 other jurisdictions. So instead, the approach we are using is just simply adding a recital that reflects that WRIA 9 has already funded the Duwamish Basin steward position beginning in 2022. Are there any comments on the amendment? Seeing no comments, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the amendment?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Yes.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you so much. The motion carries and the amendment adopted. Are there further comments on the amended resolution? Seeing no further comments, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution as amended?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. The motion carries. The resolution is adopted as amended and the chair will sign it. Will the clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf? Moving on to item number 7. Will the clerk please read item 7 into the record?
Agenda item 7, Resolution 32030, a resolution relating to the City Light Department acknowledging and approving the City Light Department's adoption of a biennial energy conservation target for 2022 through 2023 and 10-year conservation potential. The committee recommends a resolution be adopted.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Peterson, as chair of the committee, you are recognized in order to provide the committee report.
Thank you, colleagues. This resolution approves Seattle City Light's biennial energy conservation targets. State Initiative 937, adopted in 2006, requires City Light to establish renewable energy conservation targets that are cost effective and reliable. The utility must report the conservation targets biannually to the State Department of Commerce. Resolution 32030 approves these new targets, both over the next couple of years and through the next 10 years. The target was prepared using methodologies consistent with those used by the Pacific Northwest Electric Power and Conservation Planning Council. The committee unanimously recommended approval of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Peterson. Are there any additional comments on the passage of this legislation? Okay, seeing no additional comments, will the clerk please call the roll on the adoption of the resolution?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you so much. The resolution is adopted and the chair will sign it. The clerk please affix my signature to the legislation on my behalf. Moving down the agenda on to items 8 and 9. Will the clerk please read items 8 and 9 for the record?
Agenda items 8 and 9, appointments 02072 and 02073. The appointments of Jose Ulysses Nino Rivera and Diane Tay Mai Walsh as members, Seattle Bicycle Advisory Board, for terms to August 31st, 2023. The committee recommends the appointments be confirmed.
Thank you so much. Councilmember Peterson, as chair of the committee, you are recognized in order to provide the committee report.
Thank you, colleagues. We've got 4 appointments to the transportation boards on our agenda today. They were all unanimously approved by the committee. The first 2 are for the Bicycle Advisory Board. Jose served as the 2020-2021 Get Engaged member of the Bike Board. He looks forward to using his tenure now to focus on the role of bike infrastructure and reaching Seattle's climate goals. Diane previously worked in SDOT's public space management program, and she believes in an inclusive bicycle program that addresses barriers. She believes in an inclusive bicycle program that addresses barriers to make the system more accessible. The committee unanimously recommended both. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Colleagues, are there any comments on these appointments? Seeing no comments, will the clerk please call the roll on the confirmation of appointments 2072 and 2073?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. The motion carries and the appointments are confirmed. Will the clerk please read item 10 into the record?
Agenda item 10, appointment 02074. The appointment of Amin Amos as member, Seattle Transit Advisory Board, for a term to August 2nd, 2023. The committee recommends the appointment be confirmed.
Thank you, Councilmember Peterson. As chair of the committee, you are again recognized in order to provide the committee report.
Thank you. Again, this appointment was approved unanimously by committee. We actually got to meet all of these appointees over Zoom during our committee meeting, and Amin hopes to help make transit accessible and easy to use. On a lighter note, in his application materials, he shared that he's a proud owner of a Mariners-themed Orca card, and his favorite transit station is Mount Baker. We unanimously recommended approval.
Thank you so much. Just looking to see, are there any further comments on this appointment? Seeing none, will the clerk please call the roll on the confirmation of the appointment?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. The motion carries and the appointment is confirmed. Item 11. Will the clerk please read item 11 into the record?
Agenda item 11, appointment 02076, appointment of Robin Schwartz as member, Seattle School Traffic Safety Committee for a term to March 31st, 2023. The committee recommends the appointment be confirmed.
Thank you again. Councilmember Peterson, as chair of the committee, you are recognized to provide the committee report.
Thank you, Council President Pro Tem. Colleagues, Robin comes to the School Traffic Safety Committee with a 10-year background in organizing, among other, Seattle Public Schools parents in the Duwamish Valley, and she plans to focus on equity as a member of this committee. Our committee, Transportation Utilities, unanimously recommended her appointment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Peterson. Any additional comments on this appointment? Seeing no additional comments, will the clerk please call the roll on the confirmation of the appointment?
Juarez.
Aye.
Lewis.
Aye.
Mosqueda.
Aye.
Peterson.
Aye.
Sawant.
Yes.
Strauss.
Yes.
Council President Pro Tem Herbold.
Yes.
7 in favor, none opposed.
Thank you. The motion carries and the appointment is confirmed. Moving on to other business. Is there other business, any other further business to come before the full council? Not seeing any. Colleagues, this concludes items of business on today's agenda. The next regularly scheduled City Council meeting is on December 13th, 2021 at 2 p.m. Hope everybody has a great afternoon. The time is 2:44 p.m. and we are adjourned.